Hi class, this is Dr. Karsten, and today I want to go over our Math POD problem of the day that we just had. So let's take a look at this problem. Now, as you can remember, when we were in Module 4, I really enjoyed baking in our problems. So I decided to go back to that as a little bit of a review, and Module 4 was all about multiplication and division. So here it says that Dr. Karsten has been baking cupcakes again. She baked 129 cupcakes. She needs to pack them in boxes that can hold 4 cupcakes each. How many boxes will she have completely filled? Will there be any leftover cupcakes that she needs to eat? Now, I can tell you, my fingers are crossed that yes, there will be cupcakes for me to eat. So let's take a look at this. How many boxes will she have completely filled? So I am looking for the number of boxes. That is going to answer my first question. But I have to be careful because there are 2 questions here, the number of boxes and the number of leftover. And we know that that is just remainders. So what I want to do is I want to take this problem and remind you how we used to do these in tape diagrams. Just to help us to understand it. And remember, another thing you can always do is to draw a picture. So I want to try and make sure that I have everything here. So I have my total. She baked 129 cupcakes. So that's the total. So that's important to know also. Okay. So if I were to do a tape diagram for this one, the way that I would start it is by drawing a tape diagram, and I would give myself a nice long one, give myself some room. And then I would show that the entire thing is 129 cupcakes. And then I'm going to show what each box contains. It says here that each box contains 4 cupcakes. And remember, when they're giving you a container or a group or something like that, you can show that. So I could say, look, here's one, and there's 4 cupcakes in it. Here's another, and there's another 4 cupcakes in it. And I could draw a few of those if I wanted to. But the truth is that I don't know how many to draw because that's what we are trying to figure out. How many boxes do I need, or how many groups do I have? So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 dots and then put a question mark to say, I don't know how many of these I have. I don't know how far it continues. Now, if we do have a remainder, remember that I'm also going to then darken in the remainder over here and show the remainder. And since I kind of know that I get to eat at least 1 cupcake, I can show that. And that would be my remainder. Okay, and you could have made that a little bigger. That would have been fine. So another way to think about this is that whenever you know what the whole thing is, in this case 129 cupcakes, and you have, then you basically are looking at part whole. I have the whole thing. I know what it is. That means that I'm going to be dividing to find this other piece. Now, if I'd had both the number of groups or the number of boxes and what is in each of those, then I'd have 2 parts. I would multiply to get my total. So that's another way of looking at it. And then finally, for some of you, sometimes it's easier to just kind of draw that and put those 4 cupcakes in there and say to yourself, well, oh wait, I need to figure out how many of these boxes I need until I get to 129. But preferably you're going to model it this way. So I'm going to cross that one out for us. Now I'm going to go to a fresh piece of paper because I need a little bit of room to do this. We have figured out that we need to divide 129 by 4. And I can write that for us right here. We're taking 129, and we're going to divide by 4 to get our answer. So let's go to a fresh piece of paper and work this out together. And I know I need some room, so I'm going to start up here at the top. So I am taking 129, and I probably shouldn't be writing so big, and I'm dividing it by 4. So for those of you who like, don't forget that you can use does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, don't forget your check. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So can 4 go into 1? Can 1 be divided by 4? Or another way of saying that is, how many 4s are in 1? Well, if I have just 1 dot over here, I don't have enough to make any 4s. So I know that 1 divided by 4, or 4 can go into 1, 0 times. Now for some of you, you like to put your little times there, that's fine. So we divided. 0 times 4 is 0, so I multiplied. Now I have to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. I check, is 1 less than 4? It sure is, I'm good. And now I get to bring down that 2. Okay, how many times does 4 go into 12? How many 4s are in 12? Or 12 divided by 4? So if I do that, that's the dividing part. 12 divided by 4, I know is 3. And it actually works out perfectly. I can say 3 times 4 is 12. So now I've divided, I'm doing my multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12. Now I'm going to subtract. And now I get to bring down. And now, oh, we didn't check. 0 is less than 4, so that's my check. And we brought down. All right, how many 4s are there in 9? What's 9 divided by 4? Well, if you're not sure, remember you can also do this and say 4, 8, 12. Uh-oh, 12 is too big. 8, so I have 2 4s in there. So that's the dividing part. 2 times 4 is 8. That's the multiplying part. Now I have to subtract. And I have 1. Now I have to check. 1 is less than 4. Is there anything left to bring down? No. But then I have to think to myself, is there anything I can bring back up? And sure enough, there's a remainder. So I want to show that I have a remainder of 1. So now how are we going to use this to help us answer the question? Remember, in the question it asked us 2 things. The first one was, how many boxes will be completely filled? And that's this part of the answer. 32 boxes will be completely filled. So let me go ahead and write that. And I'm sorry I'm going out of the frame here with our answer, but I'm going to write 32 boxes will be completely filled. Can I fill it? I'm gonna squeeze it in. I can do it. Okay, so that's the first question. But remember, there were 2 questions. The first one was, how many boxes will she have completely filled? And the second one was, will there be any leftover cupcakes that she needs to eat? And sure enough, I had a cupcake that I got to eat. 1 cupcake was remaining. I had 1 leftover cupcake. So I'm going to write that. Dr. C will need to eat the 1 leftover cupcake. All right, class, so that is how we would have answered the question. We've answered both questions. There are 32 boxes completely filled, and I will have 1 leftover cupcake. All right, I hope this helps you out. This was a great review of some of our Module 4 work. Module 4 is so important to moving on to grade 5. You really have to master this multiplication and division. So we're going to keep practicing, and I will see you tomorrow morning in our Google Classroom. Have a great night.